Well, I agree with the chairman. I think this is a great hearing and a good time to hear things that are working and things that are changing and evolving. I think we still have a long way to go, but I think that there are good things happening as far as giving people second chances. Dan Caudell, you mentioned in your testimony that the stigma and the ongoing discrimination against these individuals is led by the federal government and their hiring practices. Then you mentioned also state, city, and county government. Are there people that you're coming across that have tried to get employment in either federal government or city government and are still having difficulty because of their criminal past?
Yes, from the people I've talked to, yes. They, and unless things have changed pretty significantly, I believe that's still the case today. They did have a campaign not to check the box in Jefferson County and in Louisville for a while. But my understanding is that it is still extremely difficult to get state or federal jobs with a prior conviction.
Right. Anybody else have a comment on that or any awareness of either prohibitions or problems with federal employment with records? Okay. Mr. Perez, I, like the chairman, am glad that Diane had such a great influence in your life and got you to open the restaurant. And I've been there and I've seen the employees, and it's uplifting really to see the smiles on the faces and the people who are excited to be there at work. And it's not every restaurant you go in, every worker in there is excited to be there, but they do seem to be excited to be there. And I'm one who's a big believer that our self-esteem comes from work. No matter who you are, that's how you get your self-esteem. You can't be anybody unless you really do something. Doesn't matter exactly what it is. It can be a range of things, but doing something is who we are. And so I was pretty impressed with meeting the employees that you met that you're giving these second chances to. You mentioned, that you have a nurse and an engineer and a college professor, and I'm like you, glad that they're able to work, but their full self-esteem has to really come from doing more. Are you aware of any kind of connection to like a consortium of information of people who would hire like engineers or nurses, or is there some sort of way to connect them that you're aware of other than just word of mouth of finding somebody in the area that might hire an engineer? Or do you have any insight as to any way to try to conquer that problem?
Yeah, so if we speak about just the engineer, I worked pretty hard with this young man after he was employed with us for a year and a half. And we needed an internship. I called 10 people and I got one interview. And that one interview felt that it wasn't safe enough for insurance purposes, he claimed, or because at the end of the day, he was going to have to do a background check, and he didn't think that it would make it through all of his HR policies and procedures.
There are a lot of groups that deal with criminal justice reform and second chances. I know you're aware of them. You and I both are aware of them. Dan is too. I'm wondering if maybe setting up some sort of nationwide, like a LinkedIn, something where you'd be able to share information with people might be a way to connect people. I do know that, for example, and I don't know if this would help your engineer, that Koch Industries has been a leader in this in nationwide, not only in giving tens of millions of dollars to the criminal justice movement, but also, putting their policy where their money is as well, and
yes,
hiring people. Now, that might not be in Lexington, but they've got stuff all over the world. I mean, it's a big company that might be a possibility for him or her.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's something on the hiring aspect, Mr. Chairman, that we might look into or have our staffs look into. If there are any federal impediments to hiring, as far as second chances, that's something that maybe you and I could look at together and perhaps see if there are any federal impediments that are still there that could be removed as far as hiring.
I think it's an excellent suggestion. I think we'll have our staff follow up on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Senator Shaheen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to each of you for being here today. Dr. Phillips, I want to start with you because you talked about your research showing that entrepreneurship is something that is more prevalent among the previously incarcerated than the general population.